Hello everyone, how are you all? Thanks for attending this webinar. If you are also attending my previous webinars, then just raise a hand. Can we start the PPT? Okay, so the purpose of this webinar is to know about the financial planning for study abroad process. So everybody have a dream of studying abroad and all, but there is like one big hurdle which stops them from achieving their dream, which is definitely financials, tuition fee, etc., etc. Everybody are like really afraid of what will be the cost, will I be able to afford it, so and so. There are so many questions around it, and many people don't even know how to strategically plan their financial budget when they are planning to study abroad, which is why there's a lot of fear around it. So in this webinar, we'll see like what will be your expenses if you want to study abroad, and how to strategically plan your budget and how to save some money. There are a few tips and tricks as well by the end of this webinar, so make sure you stay until the end. And yeah, so let's start the webinar now. Next slide please. Yeah, so there's a little introduction about me over here. So if anybody joined this webinar for the first time, then I'm Anmisha Reddy. I have a YouTube channel where I make informative content for study abroad student. So this is actually my passion, where I would like to help or navigate other students study abroad process, because when I first went to the UK, I have absolutely zero help from anyone, to be very frank. And at that time I used to face like a lot of issues, and I wasted a lot of money because I don't have proper knowledge around it. So I always regretted that, and then I started a YouTube channel to help others because they shouldn't be in my situation. So that's when this journey started. And right now I also own a company called Career Check Go Abroad, through which we help your study abroad process from application till you find your accommodation, jobs, and everything. We do everything for you. So that's a little introduction about me. And yeah, next, what is your first concern when you plan to study abroad? As I already mentioned, budget, student loans, and if you're looking for like financial aids, these are all like common concerns. So if you have any other concerns, just comment in the chat box, so that I'll also know whether this is the only concern students have, or are there any other concerns. Just comment in the chat box, guys. I will see. Okay, I think there are no other concerns other than this, as there are no messages. Now, what will be covered in this presentation? So, as I already mentioned, in this presentation, we will understand like what are the types of expenses you will face abroad, like when you go there, because many people don't know what kind of expenses you have when you go abroad. You only think that tuition fee is the main concern, visa, all those things. But after going there as well, there are a lot of other expenses which nobody knows, and you'll not be prepared for that, which is why you'll face a lot of problems. So in this video, we'll understand completely what are the expenses you're going to have, and also few tips to manage these expenses, and also definitely tricks for budget management. You definitely have to have proper budget management if you're studying abroad, because if in abroad, you have to manage all by yourself, your finances and everything. So if you don't know how to budget yourself, then you'll face a lot of problems. So we'll see these three things in this presentation today. First thing is understanding various types of expenses. First is we'll see what are the direct costs, which everybody knows. First thing is tuition fees, which we all know. This will be your like primary expense. It will be most expensive depending on the university. So now we can also see like a quick review of all the estimated tuition fee for different programs for different countries. So if you can see for Canada, the undergraduate program, the tuition fee will be around 13,000 to 20,000 CAD. For masters, it will be around 17,000 to 25. For doctoral degree, it is 7,000 to 15,000. So I'll just wait for like 2 minutes so that you can see approximately what are the tuition fees is. These are approximate, guys, and it completely depends upon the university and the course you're taking and all those things. So these are like approximately. So this will be like your number one expense. You have to be prepared for tuition fee, definitely. And I know you all know about this already. Yeah, so we have Australia, UK, USA, Ireland, all the tuition fees approximately over here. And next is study materials and additional academic expenses. So we all think that if we pay the tuition tuition fee, everything will be included in it, so and so. But no, there are few universities which include everything in the tuition fee, and there are few universities which does not. So one of the major expense would be study materials. So for example, if there are any online resources, the university want you to buy, or if there are any textbook they want you to buy, or any technology, or overall, if for the course, if they want you to buy anything else other than the tuition fee, then it's all considered as expenditure only. Usually, universities doesn't ask you to buy textbooks or something like that, like in our school or colleges, because everything will be online. To be very frank, so I think you might spend some money on like online resources, maybe technology. Yeah, these two things you might spend, but textbook is very unlikely. It completely depends on university, but I haven't seen any university which asked people to buy textbooks. But online resources, all those things you have to buy. So you have to keep this also in your mind while you're planning your finances for a study abroad. And next is any additional academic expenses, like laboratory fee, or if you're going any for field trip or anything, those expenses, or if you're a BPC student, or if you're studying like pharmacy or so and so things, some equipment you have to buy. So there are few things which are related to your course. So if you're going for business studies, then I don't think you will not have any additional academic expenses. But other than that, you'll have these expenses. So just keep in mind, I'm not saying this will be applicable to everyone. This will be applicable to only people, who are in related courses. But this also one of the expenses when you study abroad. Yeah, and the second is indirect costs. So direct is tuition fee, and also all those things. And second is indirect. In this indirect, we have living expenses. So we definitely have to understand how what is the cost of living in the country which you're going to, because you'll have to earn that much money, or you'll have to plan that much money when you go abroad, because you have to live there. Living expenses include your housing, your food, your utilities, your transportation, and all the other personal expenses. So if you're going there, you have to stay somewhere, you have to eat, you have to pay bills and all those things. So you have to plan this accordingly as well. And different cities, different countries have different cost of living prices. So before going, you have to do very thorough research of what will be the cost of living, and how much monthly you have to have in your hand to survive there. All these things you have to keep in mind. Otherwise, as soon as you go there, if you find everything, usually we find everything new when we go to different country, and if you don't know what kind of expenses you might face there. So if, for example, in the first month, if you get like $1,000 bill or something, you won't be able to pay because you're not prepared for that. And also, if you don't have enough knowledge, you'll waste a lot of money as well. If you have thorough knowledge, you know where to buy, where to get discounts and all those things, then definitely you'll have a proper planning. If not, you'll waste a lot of money, and it will definitely affect your studies and overall mental health as well. So I thoroughly suggest you to do thorough research of your living expenses, how much it's going to be, where will I get the best deals, and in which place I should stay, how many people, with how many people I should share the room, all those things. So you have to keep in mind. And next is travel and visa expenses. So this one I already told you. So you're going to different countries, so definitely your flight tickets are a major cost. And if you're going abroad, then you want to visit India once in a while as well, so that also considered as expense. And also your visa expenses, application fees, and all those things while applying. If your university have application fee, that is also considered. Usually for different country, UK, most of the universities doesn't have application fee, but other countries there is application fee for most of the universities, not all. And the application fee ranges from somewhere around $100, $50 to $50 to $150 usually. So you have to keep this in mind. And definitely visa expenses. So if you're applying for visa, then you have to pay some amount to the embassy. So that is also you have to consider if you're planning abroad. So, and next is health insurance. So whichever country you're going to, they have some health insurance which you have to pay. For example, if you're going to the UK, then you have to pay immigration health surcharge. This usually when applying for visa only, they ask you to pay health surcharge. So when you go abroad, whatever the duration of your visa, you'll get free medical services. So that's how it is. So this also you have to keep in mind. And next is exchange rates. So basically you're going to a different country. So different country have different exchange rates, and it fluctuates like very easily and very drastically. Sometimes, not every time. Usually there is no change, but For some countries there will be drastic change sometimes, for some countries there won't be change at all, so you have to keep this in mind as well. For example, you think for $1,000, for £1,000, 1 lakh or something like that, but sometimes it fluctuates and you will be short of money or something like that, so you have to keep some cash as well, just to adapt to these exchange rates. So yeah, these four are like indirect costs which you will have to face, when you're going abroad. And next is, obviously, when you start earning, you pay taxes. So that is one jump. Then you have to pay tax to the country you are staying in, and usually that takes a huge chunk of your money. So you should not count that as your salary. Once you start, you might think about, but no, you'll deduct. They'll deduct some amount of money for taxes. So you have to plan accordingly. Yes, guys, I'll answer all of your questions at the end of this webinar. So please make sure you be ready with your doubts. And yeah, so now we have seen what are the direct costs, what are the indirect costs. So these are all the finances you will have to face when you plan to study abroad. So now you got a clarity as to what might what expenses you might have. Now what we'll see is what are the tips for budgeting and finding like financial aid, because everybody cannot afford this much of huge amount of money, so they need some kind of financial aid through loans or scholarships or whatever it is. So we'll also see how to find the right financial aid and all those things. First thing is, do keep track of all your expenditures. That is very important. That's why the main reason why I have given a clear picture of direct costs and indirect costs is to if you know what you're going to spend on, and also while you're spending each and every amount of money, you have to keep track of it, otherwise you'll forget it. Definitely you'll forget it, and you cannot efficiently manage your budget. So that's why whatever you're spending, just make sure you're writing it on your notes, or your phone notes or something like that. Just keep track of all your expenditures. When you write or when you type your expenditures, you'll know how much you're spending, and next time you'll be more mindful of spending so much money. So that is very important in budgeting. Okay, and next is know your student visa cost. So as I already mentioned, every country have its own set of rules and costs when it comes to visa. So every country have different expenses. So if you want to know all these costs and everything, then you can definitely contact us. We will give you like a clear picture how much it costs, how much you have to take, so and so things. Next is next, understanding how student loan works. So basically, as I told you, you'll have to find financial aid in some or the other way, which means like taking loans. So if you want to pay this huge amount of money, you might not have so much cash in your bank account or your father's bank account. So you definitely have to take student loan. But before taking student loan, you also have to understand how this student loan actually works. So if you can see, every loan have some interest rate, right? So you'll have to pay some interest along with your tuition fee. So that interest rate on a tuition fee depends upon the CIBIL score. And usually, for example, if your father's CIBIL score is really great, then your interest rate might be little less. If it's not, if your father's or your CIBIL score is not really great, then you might face high interest rates, and some might not even give you loans because of the CIBIL score. So if you are like planning to go abroad sometime in future, then it is better to keep track of your CIBIL score way before and maintain good CIBIL score, either your father's or yours or whatever it is. And banks also consider dependent account of parents or a joint account for student. So this is also like very important. So if you want to know like what would be the interest rates, and if you want to know how much loan you'll get and how much interest you have to pay, and if you have all these questions, whether you will get loan or no, all these questions you'll have, right? So if you want to get a clarity on all of these, then we can book a call for you with a financial advisor who can advise you on various things related to student loans. If you want to do that, then just comment in chat box so that we'll know that you want to meet them. We'll arrange a call for free for people who are attending this webinar today. So you'll get a clarity as to whether you can plan abroad or no. depending on the student loans. So yeah, that is about the student loans. As I already mentioned, understanding the cost of living. So usually cost of living, as I told you, depends upon the location, the city, the country, all these factors, and there are many other factors as well. So if, for example, if you're living in capital city, then the cost of living might be higher. If you're going to a small city in a country, then your cost of living might be less. So while choosing the university as well, if you cannot afford a lot of money, I suggest you to choose a university or a city with low cost of living, because that will eventually help you. But with small city comes, there are pros and cons for it. The cost of living might be less, the tuition fee is also less, but there might be few opportunities in terms of part time and so on. So there are two sides for a coin, right? So there are pros and cons for this as well. So you have to weigh both of these, and whichever suits you the best, you can choose that. But you have to have knowledge about cost of living. That is very important. So usually what people do is they blindly apply to any university they like, and if they get the university, they'll go directly, and they cannot afford the cost of living in some cities, and which eventually go make them go into debts, and they eventually ruin their career as well. I've seen so many people like that. So I strictly suggest you to do thorough research regarding cost of living, and I will be able to help you to evaluate like different cost of living in the interested universities of yours. So that is it. Applying for scholarships, this is also very important, because many people think I don't have good score, so I might not get scholarship, so I cannot go abroad. So these are all thoughts everybody have. But what I would like to say is, not every scholar will get scholarship, and not every normal student will not get scholarship. So it completely depends upon the scholarship you're applying to, and the number of people applying to the scholarship, and there are various other. So the type of scholarship also plays a major role. So if when you're planning to study abroad, scholarships are like a savior for most of the people, because usually abroad universities give very good amount of scholarship compared to Indian universities, that's for sure. When you're like trying to plan this, I suggest you to definitely look for scholarships, whether that is private, government, or university based, whatever it is. You first need to like filter all the scholarships, and whichever scholarship you are eligible to, you definitely have to apply for that. And what I suggest is, you have to plan this way early, because usually all the people start their process much before, and they apply, they get, once the scholarship limit is over, they won't give scholarship. So if you're planning to apply a scholarship in the last minute, then there are high chances you might not get this financial aid. So I thoroughly suggest you to apply to the scholarships as early as possible, so that you'll get some amount of relief. That is like really important. Some people even get the whole tuition fees as scholarships for some private or government scholarships. So that is like a dream for so many people. So you'll lose it if you don't act fast, or if you don't apply as early as possible. And if you don't know what scholarships you have to apply to, for that information, you definitely can message us. We'll tell you what are the scholarships available, to which you can apply, to which you're eligible, all those things. We'll make sure you'll get some or the other kind of relief, right? That is very important. I suggest everybody to take some kind of scholarships when studying abroad. That is my main point over here. And next is part-time jobs. Yes, so everybody want to go abroad for studying only, but we have to live there by ourselves. So that is also very important. Some people might want to take help from their parents while studying there. That is also fine. I'm not saying that's wrong. It completely depends upon your father's financial situation and your goal, your thought process and all those things. But majority of the people wants to earn by themselves and spend their money while living there. So for those people, part-time jobs are like major thing. So you'll as soon as you go there, you'll have to find some of the other part-time jobs. But what I would suggest is, before going, only once you get the admit into the college, I suggest you to search for the part-time jobs and apply for them. And if you find difficulty, if you don't know how to search for it, then we will help you. Like, we will find different jobs in your locality, and we'll apply for them with a personalized resume and all those things. And by the time you go there, you'll have interviews in place. So you'll have to attend the interview, and it depends on you whether you get the job or no based on the interview. But we'll make sure you have something in hand to attend to. Otherwise, usually as soon as students go there, they'll be in a lot of homesick, all new atmosphere. They'll be like very upset and all those things. In that situation, if you have to go and search for part-time jobs and everything, it'll be a really big headache for most of the people. With this method, I think you'll be a little free. You'll have something to look forward to, and if you get the job, then you'll have the job as soon as you go there. You can start earning. So all these are like advantages with career check, to be very frank. And even if you want to personally search as well, then this will be the best option. Search before you go there, because if you're going for specific intake, most of the students also come for that intake itself. So if there are a lot of people, lot of competition and all of that, so if you want to be ahead of the race, then you can start applying before only, so that you'll have that first mover advantage. So finding part-time job is very important. And also guys, I want to strictly tell one thing over here. So everybody want to do part-time job, that is completely fine, but what I would suggest is you have to do part-time job only for living. You cannot save a lot of money with part-time job. You should not pay your heavy the interest rates and the installments of tuition fee. If you start doing that, if you be in that loop, you will not study at all. Usually in every country, in most countries, 20 hours per week or 40 hours per week is the minimum job, minimum working hours. So if you exceed that, if you do that illegally, or if you exceed that, many people do that. They almost spend most of the time doing part-time jobs. They won't go to university, they won't study, they earn a lot of money, they pay their the loan and everything. The loan will be done, but they won't pass the exam, they won't finish the course. Then what is the point of coming abroad? So that's my question. So I strictly suggest you all not to do more than the minimum working hours. They have given the minimum working hours, just they know, like that will be enough for living in a different country. So after finishing your course, if you get a nice job, you can finish it or finish the loan in like maybe less than what you're doing in part-time job. So I highly suggest you not to do that. There should be some purpose for paying the loan, right? If you pass the degree only, then there's some point to pay the loan. You should not come abroad just to pay the loan, right? So you have to keep this in mind as well. Saving on accommodation, right? So if you don't know what accommodation options you have, and if you don't know which locality you have to find accommodations in, and if you don't know with how many people you have to share your accommodation, if you don't know many things, then you will not save a lot of money on accommodation. It's a known fact, if you share your room with a lot of people, then your accommodation costs come down. So it depends on you. If you afford like little more money, then you can stay all by yourself. And there are different types of accommodation, like student homes, like 1 bed flat, 2 bed flat, or villas, or so and so things, hostels. So all these things are available, but it depends on you what kind of responsibility you would like to take and what kind of budget you have. So if you have proper knowledge about all those things, you can save a huge chunk of money on accommodation as well. And next is taking advantage of student loans. Well guys, so this one I really have to stress a lot, because while you are a student, you have discounts on so many things. You have some discount cards as well. In different countries, there are different types of discount cards through which you can get discounts on groceries, accommodation, transportation, food, shopping. There are so in cinemas, entertainment, there are so many discounts you'll get. Minimum is 10% discount, which I have seen in the UK. So different cards have different type of benefits. Make 100% use of the student discounts. This will help you a lot of lot in saving some money for yourself, like a saving or something like that. So many people don't know this, but now you know, so you have to remember this. And now that you know what kind of expenses you have, there are a few things which I told you in this webinar. Now you will also need to know how to budget your money. Now you're earning some money, you know how to spend on, but how to like budget the whole money. So you have to use this 50-30-20 rule. This is like a proven rule, guys. Everybody, most of the people who have like excellent financial planning follow this rule, and they are successful in it. Personally, even I follow the same one, and I lived in the UK happily for almost 4 years. So first is 50% of your income goes to needs. So housing, bills, utility, grocery, these are all needs. You need them to survive. So 50% of your money goes there, and 30% of your money goes to wants. Wants are like shopping, eating out in a restaurant, watching a movie, or going on a trip. All these are wants, right? So 30% of your money goes to wants, and 20% goes to saving or for emergency kind of situations. So basically, for example, pandemic happened. For example, we don't know, when the pandemic happened, we don't know we'll be in that situation before. But if you have this emergency 20% savings in your bank, in that situation, if you even if you lose your job, you can survive for a couple of months or maybe 3 months. You'll not be in a very depressed situation with no money at all. So I thoroughly suggest all of you follow this, 50-30-20 rule. Trust me, this will help you out in managing your budget efficiently. Trust me, just follow this and you'll be sorted. So that's it. Like, the whole concept of this webinar is done right now. In this webinar, I hope you learned about what kind of cost you have, how to manage those costs, how to have, like, different kind of direct costs and indirect costs. All those things you got to know, and also few tips and tricks on how to budget. So as I told you, Career Check Go Abroad will help you in all these steps, from your admission process, from selecting your universities to until you find your part-time job, until you finish your course. We'll be there with you, in all phases of your life. So you don't have to worry about it at all. And we'll do this all for free. We don't charge anything from you. And for people who are attending this webinar, if you want any help in financial planning, if you want to know how to get, whether you'll get student loan or no, what kind of interest rate you'll get, and how to plan to get a student loan, all these things, you'll have to meet a financial expert. So if you want to meet them, if you want to have a call with them, then you can just comment in the chat box or you can message us, so that we'll schedule a call for you. With that, you'll have an understanding as to whether you'll be able to afford the tuition fee, whether you'll be able to get student loan. You'll get a clarity whether you'll go abroad or no. So that is very important, crucial step for your study abroad journey. So I hope this webinar is helpful, and please do comment in the chat box if you have any questions. I'm going to answer right now. And next slide, please. Yeah. So also, guys, in the study abroad journey, writing examinations is also a very important step, like IELTS, GRE, GMAT, based on the universities. We also provide coaching for all of these examinations, and it is like very base price. This is like the lowest price, I guess. So if you want to join these courses as well, then you can definitely contact us. We'll be able to help you with that as well. So as I told you, the offer for Christmas and New Year is booking a personalized call with financial expert, which will definitely help you in some or the other way. So make sure you use that. For people who attended this webinar today, it will definitely help you in some or the other way. So that is about webinar, guys. I hope this webinar is useful. If yes, please raise your hand so that I'll know, whether my webinars are useful or no. Great. Oh, great. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Now, if you have any doubts, please comment in the chat box, or if you want to schedule a call as well, you can contact after this webinar, or you can just keep your number, or not number. You can just message there, so that we'll only contact you, so that you'll get some benefit out of this webinar. So, and most importantly, thank you for attending this webinar, guys. And I would also like to know what kind of webinars you want me to do in future. You can comment suggestions as well, so that I'll do accordingly. Yeah, let's see. Let's wait for like 1 minute and see if anybody have any questions. If anybody does not have any questions, then that's a good sign too. So this is our number, this is our email, this is our website and everything. Just contact us. And also, if you're not following me on my Instagram, YouTube, Career Check Instagram, YouTube, please do follow. I make a lot of informative content there as well. You can have use of that. Yeah, so one person asked a question, where we can get scholarship. So there are different websites depending upon your country and university. This is like a very generalized question, which needs a lot of effort into, like, if you can have a call with us directly, then we'll see what are your requirements, which country you want to go, which university you want to go, and what kind of help you need from scholarships and all those things. And we'll tell you which scholarships you have to apply to. Okay. Ramanjanelu, I hope I answered your question. You know what to do next. You can contact the number which is shown on the screen. Now, any more questions? I'm just going to end this webinar right now if you don't have any questions. Right. Okay, let's end this webinar. Thank you, guys. I hope you have a great weekend and all the best for your study abroad plans. Bye.